My name is Ashley Comer, and here is my PowerPoint presentation on classroom management for EDFD 420. So the first topic we're going to talk about is setting up the classroom. So the first day of school, the kids are getting their first impression of not only you, but your classroom. So the first thing I am going to do is make sure to greet each and every one of my students as they walk in the door to start that positive relationship. I plan on having a personalized name tag somewhere in the classroom, either if it's on their desk, on their locker, on their book bag hook, depending on how the school is set up. And also if we have mailboxes, have their names on that, just so they have that sense of ownership of something in the classroom of, oh, this is my classroom because my name's on my desk, or oh, look, there's my mailbox. After that, I would make sure to go through all of my expectations, walk them through any routines or procedures that they're going to need to know, make sure that they just know how they are expected to act in my classroom so they know those expectations are clear and that they're stated on the first day, so it's not, oh, I was allowed to do this the first couple weeks and then you switched it. It's no, right away we're going to start with this way. And then I would do kind of like a room tour, just kind of show them, okay, if you need scissors, the scissors are going to be over here. This is where I put the books. This is the reading corner. Whatever it may be, depending on how the classroom is set up and how the school is, because every classroom is going to be different depending on what kind of a school you're at. The first 6 weeks is kind of similar in the sense of it's going to be going over those expectations, making sure the students, again, know what's going on and they kind of practice them and see them in action. I work on campus as a resident assistant. We also have the first 6 weeks, and that's the time where you're getting to know your residents, making sure they know that they can come and talk to you if ever they need anything and things like that. And I think it's going to be the same with teaching, is those first critical 6 weeks are going to be the most important for making sure your students not only know how they're supposed to act in the classroom, but also that they can come to you if they need things and know that you are going to be there for them. Communicating with the families, I think, is important to start a positive relationship with the parents or guardians or whoever it may be at home, so that they have that positive relationship, so that when you call, if you do have an issue going on in the classroom with their student, that they're not going to be like, oh, well, the teacher's just calling about something bad. I don't want to talk to them. If you have that positive relationship, they're going to be more likely to listen and willing to work with you about whatever's going on. As for the rules, I definitely would make sure I lay those out on the first day for the students, go over the rules of the school, whether it's, if it's a kindergarten, making sure they know what they are, or just going over them again and having the students be like, okay, what are the rules for the hallway, or what are the school rules, so that they can kind of remember them and tell me them. And then as for the classroom rules, I plan on having the students help me create a classroom list of rules that they helped create. That way they have that sense of ownership of, oh, we created these rules, and they're going to be more likely to follow them, either doing it on like a bulletin board or a poster or whatever it may be, depending on the classroom setup, and then having them all sign it, and making sure that the rules are clear and simple and easy to understand as well, so that the students, again, know what's going on and what is expected of them. And again, with the rules, also making sure you go over the consequences of, if you break this rule, this is what's going to happen. If you break this rule, this is what's going to happen. Making sure those are laid out clearly as well for the students. Those don't necessarily have to be on the poster, but just making sure that they know what they are. All right, moving on to the next topic, creating a positive classroom climate. This is super important in my opinion, because you want to make sure that the students want to come to class. They want to learn, they want to get to know you better, and they want to enjoy their time in your classroom. With this, the teacher sets the tone. If the teacher comes to school and is really crabby and negative, the students are going to reflect on that and they're going to act that way too. So as the teacher, you need to make sure you're focusing on the positive things, and you can do this by praising good performance and having a variety of different awards. Making sure the students are believing in themselves is also really important. When you're pointing out mistakes or bad behavior, make sure you are doing it in a way that doesn't tear the students down. So say they did something wrong, but make sure you do like the sandwich method of, oh, this is something you're doing really good. Maybe we could work on this a little bit. Here's something else you were doing really well. So they have those positive compliments to keep them in that good mood of, okay, here's something I did well. Even though I do need to work on this, I'm still doing good. Making sure the expectations are laid out clearly as well. can also help create that positive expectation. So it's not, well, I did this last time and I didn't get in trouble and now I did, and then them being confused about it. So making sure those clear expectations are laid out can help as well. Having the teacher displaying an encouraging attitude can help as well to create that positive environment. Avoiding comparing students is also important because if you're comparing them, they're going to compare each other, and no student is alike. So comparing them isn't important and it's not helpful. Um, and also with praise, make sure you're specific. If you're, say, in a kindergarten classroom and you're praising a student for coloring within the lines, make sure you tell them, good job coloring in the lines, or, oh, I really liked how you colored within the lines, so that they're more likely to remember what you were praising them for, as opposed to being like, oh, good job. They're going to be like, okay, I don't remember what you're praising, or it's not specific. So the specifics can really help. You also need to make sure that every student feels welcome and included in the classroom. That's going to help create that positive environment because everyone's going to feel like they belong, that they're welcome, that they're included, and that is super important to make sure that the students feel that way. Next topic is incentive and rewards. This can work really well, but there are some cautions as well with this. So the first one is recognition. So things like this, it doesn't cost any money, and it could be displaying a student's work or sending them a little certificate home or a note saying, oh, hey, so-and-so did really, really well on this today. So they're getting that positive recognition. With displaying students' work, though, you'd have to be careful to make sure that it's not just the same couple students every time and that everyone's getting a turn up on the board or wherever it may be that you're displaying the work, so that one of your students doesn't feel left out because they're not doing good enough and they're not getting their work displayed on the board. With this, you might also want to be careful so that the students don't start comparing themselves. And with that, you could do like the certificate or the note home where it's kept kind of between you, the student, and the parent, and is not like shared around the room. Or you could write little notes on the test or the worksheet of good job, or you did really well with this particular part of it, so that they're getting that note on the assignment. Or, you know, when you're handing it back, be like, oh, good job on X, Y, and Z, whatever they did really well. As for privileges, again, this is something that's not going to cost money, which is important because, you know, teachers aren't made of money. And it could be something like choosing the read aloud book or getting a pass on homework or being allowed activities, which could be like game time or a movie day, which again, you would have to check kind of like the school policies and make sure it's like an appropriate movie and things like that. Giving a little bit of free time at the end of the day or a no homework pass. Things like that could work for like the privileges and activities. As for the tangible objects, that's something you have to be careful of because that is something that's going to cost money, and the students could become expectant of it, where they're going to do the assignment so they can get the prize or the reward, as opposed to doing it so that they learn and are bettering themselves. So you kind of have to be careful on that it's not too often. And these are going to be things like stickers or pencils, or it could be food. With food, though, you do have to be careful because there are such things as, you know, allergies that you have to be aware of. Some parents have like guidelines set on how much sugar they want their kids to consume, or if there's like any dietary restrictions. Say, for example, you have students who are vegan or vegetarian, or if there's religious reasons of them not eating a certain type of food, you'd have to be careful about that when you are doing any kind of food in the classroom. All right, next is misbehavior. So there are many ways that you can handle misbehavior. Um, a few ways that you can do it are with like the look, where you give that kid the look of, you know, okay, you need to knock it off, so you don't really have to say anything and they just kind of know. There's also proximity where, you know, they're misbehaving a little bit, so you just kind of are walking around the room and you maybe stop over in that corner as opposed to standing somewhere else so that they kind of know, okay, yeah, the teacher's here, she's aware of what I'm doing, I need to stop. You could do like a signal or a reminder, either if you have, for example, like maybe a little cutout stop signs that you like will place on desks if a student is misbehaving, or, you know, whatever you kind of like work out with your students, just make sure that they know what these things mean before you do them, because if they don't know and you do it, they're gonna be like, okay, what does this mean? Or you could do like redirection of, oh, I really like how Johnny's working on his math book. as opposed to like, being like, okay, so and so's doing this. Oh, okay, maybe I should do that as well. Um, with this, you should be positive with the criticism of to make sure that they know that you don't like the behavior they're doing. It's not that you don't like them. So they understand that, okay, I'm still here for you. You just need to change this behavior. With managing behavior, could always do the offer the choice of, or more like, okay, this is what's going to happen if you don't stop. So if you don't stop doing this, you're gonna get this consequence. And then maybe they'll be like, okay, I need to stop. I don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna stop what I was doing. And again, with like the nonverbal cues or the proximity are also ways that can kind of help manage behavior. As for discipline, I plan on dealing with the smaller, minor behavioral issues in the classroom, and then the larger things will go to the office. I don't want to just constantly be sending students to the office and having that be like the plan. I want to deal with as much as I can in the classroom. And I also would like to have the consequences be immediate as much as possible so that the student connects the behavior that they did wrong with the consequence, so they put two and two together and then hopefully can change that behavior. So I don't want to have something happen at like 9 in the morning and then they don't get the consequence until after school. They're not going to connect what happened with the consequence. For converting inappropriate behaviors, having that relationship with the student is really important. If they like you and respect you, they're going to be more likely to listen and willing to cooperate with you. You need to make sure you treat all students equally so that they feel that it's fair. So it's not, oh, well, Johnny did that last week and he got this punishment, but I did it yesterday and I got a completely different punishment. So you need to make sure everything is fair. You also need to be consistent so that if they do something once, they get the punishment. If they do it again, they get it. That consistency is also really important. And if at all possible, include them in the decision making. Let them kind of be like, okay, well, this is what I did wrong. This is what I think should work. But also making sure they understand that, okay, as the teacher, you get the final say in what happens. All right, and that is the end of my presentation.